What's going on, everyone? So, Darvin Ham. Let's just get it out of the way, right? So, Lakers are playing the Denver Nuggets, and there is no doubt Mike Malone is the better coach between Darvin Ham and the Denver Nuggets coach, right? But here's the thing. I do believe that Darvin Ham can be serviceable enough to where he doesn't look terrible. Right, the two Pelican games are a good example. He was actually good in those games. He's actually solid in those games. And even last year in the playoffs, Darvin Ham was good, right? He outcoached, I'm blanking on the Grizzlies head coach, but Steve Kerr, right? He outcoached those two guys. And he did really well in that regard, right? So to me, why? How did he do that? Right? All of a sudden he just got terrible against Denver? No, it's because things were going great, right? So in the playoffs, in particular, especially with this Lakers team, and even last year's Lakers team, Darvin Ham doesn't really have to do anything. He doesn't have to make these crazy adjustments. He doesn't have to make these crazy changes. He just has to kind of manage a little bit, right? Insert the proper guys, proper rotation, things like that, but also be able to call and navigate timeouts and stuff, right? But in the regular season, it's hard, and he looks terrible because he has to kind of, it's an 82 game season, right? So you're trying to play guys fewer minutes. You're trying to get other guys and you're trying to experiment. You're trying to big brain stuff. There's so many other components that go into an 82 game season. Where in the playoffs, you're basically just going with your best guys, your top, 7 to 8 best guys, and you're trusting and confiding into them. Well, in last year's playoffs, in the Grizzlies and the Warriors series, everything was great, right? LeBron James and Anthony Davis were dominating those matchups. Austin Reeves was incredible, right? D'Lo had some great games in those series, right? Schroeder had some good games. Lonnie Walker in that Warriors series, right? Rui Hachimura, all of that, right? It was a great team game, great team effort. He was just kind of going with his guys. He wasn't really having to adjust much. He really wasn't having to do much. And the Lakers just ran through the Grizzlies, ran through the Warriors. But then they ran into the giant that is Denver. And Jokic and Jamal Murray were essentially able to offset and neutralize LeBron James and Anthony Davis as far as like comparable play goes. And then it came down to everybody else. The problem is that nobody else really showed up outside of Austin Reeves. So now you're in a position where Darvin Ham has to make changes. He has to make adjustments. He has to try to navigate and coach and figure out, okay, well, now what do I do? And it's like he's grasping at straws. And it's like Rui's not good. D'Lo's not good. Schroeder's not good, right? Like, oh, Malik Beasley's unplayable, right? Lonnie Walker's not good. And nobody showed up. Now, this series, to me, and something that I keep highlighting and keep discussing, is the other guys. It's going to be very important for the other guys because what the other guys are going to do outside of like, hey, we need them to step up because if they step up and are good, we win. If our role guys outplay their role guys, then we're going to win the series because LeBron James and Anthony Davis will at bare minimum be on pace with Jokic and Jamal Murray, right? So let's say that they all kind of wash each other. Can our role guys outperform their role guys? Last year, our role guys weren't outside of Austin Reeves. Well, this year, if our guys can, then what will happen is Darvin Ham will look so much better. He'll look like a good, competent coach, which could be a problem, right? Because I know a lot of people don't want Darvin Ham to stick around any longer. But here's the thing. I also want the Lakers to win, right? I think Darvin Ham needs to be fired regardless, right? The only other alternative, I think, other than firing Darvin Ham, and I know some people are going to say there is no other alternative, but there is. To me, you either A, need to fire him, or B, you need to get a good X's and O's competent coach that can be on the sidelines, right? So Darvin Ham kind of be the voice in the face and like the player guy, but you need that like Jason Kidd to Frank Vogel type thing where, yeah, Frank Vogel, he was like the defensive guy. He was like the face. He was the head coach. But Jason Kidd was so important for the X's and O's. He's very important for the offense, right? There's a lot of things and components that Jason Kidd played into. We need something like that. That's the only way I really see you being able to keep Darvin Ham around longer, which was originally supposed to be the plan. I don't know why the Lakers decided not to do that, but originally they were supposed to get a assistant that was a former head coach to kind of help navigate and make things easier for Darvin Ham, and they didn't do it. But if the Lakers look good, and Darvin Ham's going to look good, and if Darvin Ham looks good, the likelihood of the Lakers firing him is very slim. Now, I would rather win a championship. If we can win it, if we can beat Denver, win the championship, and I got to deal with Darvin Ham for another year or two, then fine. Right? If I have to deal with him through his contract, then fine. Give me the championship, right? Because we could fire Darvin Ham and still never win a championship, right? The championship is just so hard to get. But I do think that the Lakers as players, because again, the problem is he has a script, right? And as long as he can stay within his script, he's good. Darvin Ham is good at staying within his box, right? Use a box instead, right? It's when he has to come out of that box and he has to try to figure out how to rearrange that box to make a new box. That's when Darvin Ham you start to see the lack of experience from him. Great coaches. And look, I'm not saying Darvin Ham could end up one day being the best coach in the league. I don't know. But right now, he's not. Right now, he's not the guy that we need him to be. He doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the ins and outs. There was a time where Eric Spoelstra looked like he was in over his head, and Dwayne Wade and LeBron James were talking to Pat Riley about getting him fired. Right? And Miami Heat fans wanted him gone because they lost and they thought it was his fault and he was terrible. And even Pat Riley, or Eric Spoelstra talked about how he was terrible and he had to go relearn. I mean, LeBron talked about it recently in the Mind the Game type and podcast, right? So again, maybe Darvin Ham gets there. The problem is we're not a young team. Like if we were some young rebuilding team, then fine, keep him and let's see what he can become. But we're not. We got LeBron James and Anthony Davis on this team, and we need him to be good. We need our coach to be good to be a coach in order to win. Now, look, I've been very defensive of Darvin Ham in the past. I've been very defensive of coaches, period, because I do believe most of it falls on the players. You can have the best coach in the world. If the players don't execute and play well, and they can't shoot to save their lives, and they're turning the ball over, and they're just atrocious, right? There's only so much a coach can do. Right? A coach isn't the one that's involved playing the games. You only have so many players on the bench you can realistically go to. Right? It's just like, you get to these points where it's a mess. Like all coaches deal with it, right? But to me, as long as the players step up and play well, they will make Darvin Ham look good and competent because he'll be able to kind of stay in his box. If he can stay in his box and the players allow him to do that, then the Lakers will probably win this series, right? But if Darvin Ham has to get to the point where he has to now start making adjustments game to game, and he has to start really like being a tactician out there and really kind of start piecing things together and having to figure out, okay, well, how do I solve this and how do I solve that? Now it gets to the issue of like, uh-oh, right? Because that's where Darvin Ham is not at his best. Right? Darvin Ham's good at coming up with a game plan, and then it works, sticking to that game plan. It's when he has to make adjustments on the fly. He hasn't been good and hasn't been able to show he can make proper adjustments on the fly. That's where I have my worry. That's where I have my concern, is him being able to make those adjustments. But again, how do you offset that? LeBron James, Anthony Davis, everything kind of flows and goes through them. They have a great series because they're healthy. D'Lo shows up, Reeves shows up, Rui, all these guys. If the guys he's going to rely on show up, then the Lakers are going to be fine. And Darvin Ham as a head coach is going to be fine. Will he may still have his blunders and stuff? Sure. But for the most part, I think he'll look good enough and people will go, wow, he's doing a really good job. Especially if the Lakers beat Denver. And I'm not saying it's one of those things where it's like, oh, we win despite Darvin Ham. Because I just don't buy that. Right? Either Darvin Ham's responsible for every loss, well, then he then he's responsible for every win, right? It's not one or the other, right? It's just, but again, like he if he can stick to the plan, right? He has his plan. If he can stick to the plan, then we're good, and he'll be good, and it'll look good, and we'll win because in part of him, because the plan worked, and he was able to coach, and he didn't have to make any crazy adjustments. That's where it comes from. That's where it lies. But not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about Darvin Ham. I am. But look, I think he can be competent enough. I think he can come through for the Lakers. I think it's gonna boil down a lot to the players. It's gonna be a lot in the players' hands, a lot in the players' court. But we'll see. I do believe that they'll be able to pull it out, though, and I think the Lakers will be fine. But we'll see. Again, Mike Malone. I mean, chances are Darvin Ham's going to be outcoached in every series, unless the players look great, right? Why did he outcoach Steve Kerr? Why did he outcoach? Because the guys look great, right? Like, you think he had this master plan of like, oh man, let me get Lonnie Walker in, and he's about to torch these folks. No, they were in a state of desperation, and he kind of just threw it out there, and it worked, right? So he looks like a genius. It's, oh man, look what he did. He made that great adjustment. It's like, no. He was trying to do the same thing in the Denver series. It just didn't work. He threw Lonnie Walker out there. He's trying to go and put guys. He's benching D'Lo. It's not working. So we'll see. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you have any confidence in Darvin Ham whatsoever? Do you think, no, I don't have any at all? This dude's about to take the series. Again, I have confidence in him. Not like astounding confidence. But again, as long as the game plan works, the Lakers he'll be fine. He'll look good. It's when he has to start making changes and adjustments, which hopefully there's not very many of them. But again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know. Love to hear it down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.